You'll notice in many conversations that you have on an everyday basis that you hear individuals speaking about some of their struggles or what they're finding challenging at the moment. Maybe something they are pursuing and still trying to figure things out. Now, these conversations are happening all the time, but as a health and well-being coach, it is somewhat your role to identify these struggling points, these obstacles, these challenges that our clients go through, and be able to take a step back and gain a bit of perspective about what is keeping them there and what is it that they are in fact struggling with. Now, when we understand the way the mind works, in that when we are constantly in our mind and we're coming up with new strategies and we may be researching or asking advice, looking for different perspectives, it's all about strategies, techniques, methods to try and overcome a period of our life, a stuck point, if you will, to find, some kind of resolve around whatever it is that we are going through at that time. And now, not to discount that those strategies are not valuable, but when we find ourselves or we find the people that we are interacting with or our clients constantly looking for new strategies to overcome the same or similar problems, then we really need to address that from a professional or a practitioner kind of perspective and realize that what they are trying to overcome isn't the real problem. And we can use any kind of example in this manner, whether it be sleep or dietary deficiencies or over eating or anything like that. Any kind of addictions or highly emotionally charged behaviors, anxiety, depression, anger kind of reactions that spill over into our relationships and then into our behaviors, where we're looking for things to fill that void or to create some kind of opposite emotion so that it balances itself out. Again, another one, looking for some kind of life balance. Like, we hear that all the time, but what does that even mean? So as I mentioned before, we want to be able to take a step back and realize that all these conscious strategies that the individual, we ourselves, or the interactions that we are having on a daily basis, all of these strategies are not working because it is the symptom that the individual is trying to manage. And when you have the skills of an advanced conversational hypnosis practitioner, you're going to be able to reveal the deeper information through a conversation, through questioning, through noticing and utilizing unconscious moments that show up in every conversation. So what is most important about this question and question phase, or the exploration and investigation of what is going on for the individual, is that we follow the track of the interview, if you will. And that we move as far away from the symptom or the triggered response, the triggered behavior, whatever is going on, as we continue to move away from that as far as we can till we get some really quality information. And we do that by using each response as a new platform, as a new slate. And within that response, we're looking for emotional context. We're looking for unconscious moments that show up in every conversation. That's the physical representation, maybe a shift in the tonality, an exaggerated pitch within a phrase that reveals something that is important to the client. Maybe it's a spontaneous regression or a spontaneous memory past experience that shows up. These are the new information that, as the unconscious mind is working, is revealing more and more information. And you, as the practitioner, it is your role to follow that pathway, so that we can get to the point where we have quality information. And when we get to the point where we know where something is beginning to transpire into something really meaningful for the client, we're going to really notice that because of the way the client is behaving at that moment. So they can go into somewhat a trance kind of state, or just a really emotional kind of state where they are beginning to express themselves in whatever way. So this is when we're in a really good spot, where the client's unconscious mind is beginning to reconfigure, if you will, and contemplate new choices. And then as an advanced conversational hypnosis practitioner, you're going to be able to utilize those moments to best draw your client towards the outcome that they are after. So as you can see, it's a really simple and quite methodical process, but you must be able to gain that skill and those behavior patterns within yourself as a practitioner to notice what is showing up for your clients, to notice those unconscious moments, to notice the conflict that is showing up between the unconscious mind and the conscious mind, to notice the beliefs and the theories that come up, and lots of other things that show up within the thought process of all of us. And so when we are able to really expertly and efficiently move our client through that thinking process, the client is then able to come up with, as I mentioned before, new choices, new way of thinking, because now the unconscious mind is beginning to think again. It's becoming creative and it's moving. And as I mentioned right at the start, we become stuck. When we have a problem, we become stuck in our thoughts, and we keep rebounding within that conscious way of thinking. And so by facilitating that process to allow your client to move into more unconscious thinking, then thus we have a great, deep, transformative outcome.